I'm Charles Chambers, and I'm on the coast of Spain, the northwest coast of Spain, to be exact, La Costa de la Muerte. This shore is famous for being the graveyard of many, many ships over many thousands of years. I am in the town of Muxia, in the Galician province of Spain. This is the end of the road for the pilgrimage of the Camino de Santiago. Since this little town is famous for pilgrimage, why would its coast be a graveyard for shipwrecks? These shipwrecks are here because these shores have been seeing seafaring trade for thousands and thousands of years. The history here in this town is so old that much of it has been lost and forgotten to the ether of time. The memory of the ancient ports being filled with boats from around the world is almost impossible to think of here. True, this city is currently a port, but it's a fishing port and a leisure craft port, with dozens of ships calling it home, but none of them are trading craft or trading vessels. What has long been forgotten here in Muxia is that this town had a very busy port on both sides of its peninsula, the Atlantic Ocean and the tranquil protected waters inside the Bay of Figueira on its east side. These ports service very ancient Mediterranean, African, and European trade routes. And here on this ancient coast is where I have made my first major archaeological discovery. I am overlooking the beautiful coast and seeing thousands and thousands of rolled river stones. Everyone who has looked at these stones has thought, like I, that they were brought in by rough seas or brought in through a river. The latter is closer to the truth. All of these rolled river stones of varying size, types, and geographical morphology were brought in by the sea, but not by rough seas, but by boats. Very ancient merchant boats and fishing boats engaged in the earliest known trading routes and shipping routes and fishing routes. For this prehistoric boatyard was a ballast yard for ships. Ballast yards were very important not only for commercial traders on the seas, but for the fishermen as well. When ships traded along the coast, they would buy, sell, and barter for goods. As this process happened, ships would have to remove ballast stone or take on ballast stone so they can remain upright and sound on the waters. This all depended upon their trade activity. As fishermen took on more fish, or even whales, they would have to lose ballast to maintain equilibrium on the boat. This ballast was thrown overboard. I am certain that every ancient fisherman wished that their ballast would be depleted when they returned to port from a good day's fishing with their stores full of fish. So these ballast yards had to not only remove the ballast stones from the ships and boats, but then store them. And they also had to make sure to purchase fresh stores of rounded river stone for ballast to compensate for the ballast rocks thrown overboard by the fishermen. The same is true today about ballast for ships. All seafaring ships have ballast tanks that they use, and they use water instead of stone to maintain the ship's equilibrium. When I was first walking on these stones, out of curiosity, I too thought that these smooth, rounded stones were washed up by strong ocean surges. I was not thinking about the rocks I was walking on until I walked upon this one unique lovely and lonely granite stone. This unusual and incredibly heavy granite rock caught my eye and attention because it looked out of place. It looked like it was chipped and carved like a Neolithic flint tool. I had to look at it closely, and I could instantly tell that it was an ancient Phoenician ballast stone. The shape, how it was manufactured, and its location told me its entire story. A story of brave and ancient mariners, markets, primitive warehouses of buyers and sellers, busy ports demanding ship captains, and the port infrastructure to support all of this seafaring activity. This ballast yard that we are looking at had to be a very busy enterprise because of the amount of ballast stone here. And it has an ingress ramp for donkey carts to come in and a regress ramp for the carts to go out. This means that the ballast yard was so busy that they had to manage the traffic of their supply carts. The way we can tell this is a Phoenician ballast stone is that the stone is very large and flat. It is flat because the first Phoenician trading ships did not have decks, but were open cargo boats whose deck was the keel, frame, ships, timbers, and the ballast stones of the boat. They could have also easily loaded and offloaded these ballast stones by their well-trained crews, quickly and efficiently. This massive and flat Phoenician ballast stone would not shift during its voyage and was easy to walk on by the boat's crew as it was part of the ship's deck. This ancient ballast stone was hewn in the Neolithic Stone Age and was no longer used once ships had decks covering their cargo space. Rounded and rolled river rock replaced these large and sturdy stones because the ships with decks could use the smooth and rolled stone for ballast. Round river rocks could easily be handled, and once in place, it would not shift during the voyage either. This is a great discovery for me, Muxia, and the Galician community as a whole, because it helps tell the story of this very ancient region, and it adds to the history of the mythology of the Celtic peoples that once lived and thrived here on the Iberian coast for thousands upon thousands of years ago. Again, I'm Charles Chambers. Thank you for watching, and please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more updates on the very exciting discoveries here in Muxia.